Well, I don't think that there's much controversy about the fact that those two values can sometimes come into conflict. But what the United States has always been about since the founding was the premise that it is worthwhile to preserve liberty, even if it means sacrificing security. So if you look, for example, at the way the Bill of Rights was constructed, if you look at the Fourth Amendment, the idea that the police cannot enter your home without a warrant and probable cause obviously means that there's going to be lots of times when the police are impeded in their investigation. So if there's some mass murderer on the loose, or some dangerous rapist, it would be a lot better for the police to be able to just barge into everyone's home, and they'd be much more likely to find the culprit that way. But we decided that we don't want that. We would rather risk our lives and impede the police in order to have privacy in our homes and keep the state out. And of course, the founders were all people who were, relatively rich and privileged and educated, and yet they sacrificed all of that and risked their lives in order to wage a war that was about very little other than political liberty. And so the decision they made personally was that there are things far more important than security, namely freedom and liberty. And yet we've basically reversed that calculus, which is a very un-American and a very cowardly thing to do, so that now we say all the time that the first and most important priority is security. And you even have presidents saying, my principal duty is to safeguard the security of the United States, even though the oath that they take as mandated by the Constitution doesn't say that at all. It says that their duty is to protect and defend the Constitution, not the security, national security of the United States. So yes, of course, there are times when those two values come into conflict. The question is, how do you prioritize and resolve them? And we've become security fetishists, where you've become people who, there were times in the Bush administration when Republican politicians would say civil liberties don't matter if you're dead, meaning the only thing that matters is absolute security. And there's no such thing as absolute security. You need to balance those all the time, and we don't do that any longer.